So there was definitely a lot of moving parts in this episode, so I wrote some notes, but I'll try to go through them all because it's, like I said, a lot. So the first note I wrote was that he mentions that the dragon, because when he went outside the facility, and he was testing the ground, I guess, like testing it, he found traces of the dragon, and his first thought was, maybe it was that dragon slayer girl, because we don't really know what really happened to her. We didn't see her, dead body, so we just know she's out there somewhere. So it could be her. And then later it was revealed that it might have been the mysterious guy we saw at the end of last episode, because he was also, like Tomoe, he was a greater dragon. And the reason that the reason it troubles me so much is because when we saw this guy and he had traces of dragon, because his dragon, like I said, we found him, he was inside the building. So, and we found the traces outside, and they're like almost running away from the warehouse. So maybe there's two possibilities. One is that it was probably the dragon, the great dragon that we met this episode, the mysterious guy, who's probably running away from the warehouse after, I think he was there to investigate, and so he might have left some traces while he was running away. That's one option. Option B, a very slim chance, is that maybe while the great dragon was inside, the dragon slayer, the girl, she was outside kind of viewing everything, like kind of following what this greater dragon does, like, he's searching this warehouse, like we'll follow him or whatever. So that could be a possibility, but for now it's just a running theory. The second note I made was that the organization turns out to be an anti-goddess organization. So later in the episode, the great dragon explains that there's many people who are discontent with the goddess, and those people aren't limited to the shady organization. So it does tell me that apart from this org, there certainly are people out there that are don't like the way the goddess treats them humans in their world. So that they're discontent with that. So he's saying, there's people around there with the same idea. So not to admit it's not all the organization that you have to worry about. In this warehouse, it was kind of revealed that what we saw, they were kind of doing experiments, like they were kind of merging the demi-human body parts with human body parts, and I guess they were trying to make some kind of a monster, so they can, I guess, combat the goddess, try to make this monster with absurd power, and in the hopes that they make enough of these strong monsters that they could actually overthrow this goddess. Or at least that's what I'm theorizing about this, and why they're doing these chimera-like experiments with demi-humans and humans. But yeah, that's just my running theory on it. Even though the guy, the spy, Rome, I guess that's how you say, even though he said, I'm gonna destroy this facility, as is leaving, the scene changed, we don't really see him, we don't really see, like, the facility destroyed at all. He just says, I'm gonna burn it down or whatever, but we don't see that. So it just makes me wonder, what if, this happened off scene because we don't really have to see it on screen. Maybe it happened off screen, or maybe like it's a deeper plan that him and Tome came up with, and I'll explain why Tome would do that later in my theory. But as the spy, one thing I also forgot to mention, that while this spy was in the holding cell, he was also with Eve, the school librarian that we met a couple episodes ago. So she was there. I'll also explain that later. So after they get away from this facility and they're with, Makoto or whatever, she explains her past. It was revealed that, she knew Mikoto's parents and that they were originally exiled from this kingdom that they were part in. So my running theory is that he was a hero, like his son, summoned into this world like his son. And then while he was there, he got the rank of an aristocrat, and he fell in love with, I guess, a priest. I guess in medieval times, a priest would be considered like, even a prestigious priest would be considered a commoner. And I'm guessing the reason that they were exiled from that country was because an aristocrat fell in love with a commoner, and his father was an aristocrat, her mother was a priest, his mother was a priest. They probably fell in love. It was like kind of those forbidden love kind of things, and they were exiled, and we don't really know what happened to them. But my guess is they were in love and they tried to get married and they were kicked out. And she also mentions that she lived in that country where they met and they were exiled from. So she knows. That's why she knows. And she also says 10 years ago too, the same year that they got exiled, I guess, was also when this great demon invasion happened and they won, which wiped out all the records. So they're only going by her name. But yeah, I want to mention that demon invasion. I thought that would be important later on. 10 years ago. It was also revealed that even her sister, once they escaped, they were kind of branded as, by society, they were branded as these cowards that ran away. And so some people, I guess some powerful people, they knew about, their past, and they're, just trying to attack them. Even her sister trying to kill them, I guess, for being cowards. Then, because of this, Eve had this great idea of making contact with this organization, which I'm guessing is the anti-goddess organization, and in order to reclaim her land. That's where the conversation ends or fades away, and then, like I said before, the mysterious man turned out to be a great dragon, and then we see on Mikoto's orders, though, we see that Shiki is, striking a deal with the demon girl. He says, and the plan is, or what Mikoto told him was that, get her to help you find this traitor in the academy, find the connection, the link. And to that she agrees, and then we hear her in her monologue, and she says, she says, my original mission was completed a long time ago. So I do wonder what that, the way she said mission, it seemed like someone gave her this duty. So I do wonder who that would be, who would give her that duty. Um, and then if you realize, she also kind of talks about, she says it's time to make use of that organization and learn Mikoto's true strength. And so I just noted here that the way that she talked about the organization, it seems like she's like kind of some kind of leader or in a executive position in this organization that she's not telling Shiki or Mikoto about. So that was one thing I kind of noted. So we come back to Mikoto's conversation with the dragon, and he says he's the guild master, and that the guild was founded 1,000 years ago. Then he says that the knowledge that he learned from his master, he used that knowledge to create the guild, Adventurers Guild, 1,000 years ago. He also says that Mikoto, that his master from 1,000 years ago, he was coincidentally from a different world like Mikoto. So maybe it kind of shows that there were a bunch of heroes, probably like his father, that were summoned here to be this world's heroes. So there was a bunch in the past. We don't know how much, but I'm guessing with that his master was obviously a hero. But then Mikoto's father was a hero, and then now his son is a hero, or his title is hero, and then those two other heroes, the female and the male hero, that were summoned after Mikoto, were also not the first one. So there was a bunch of them before. And then I guess that's where kind of the conversation does end. And as the greater dragon is leaving, he is talking to Tomo, and he says, that people from that world, even though they're in this world, like if Mikoto does decide to go back, like they don't live forever. They're like, their lifespan is 100. That's what he basically says. So he'll die, and Tomo obviously doesn't like that. She's opposed. She doesn't like that one day he'll die. And then he says, there's like a third option I didn't mention, and he continues saying that. He continues saying that he says there has to be a trigger, and for him to like, when he gets mad, or a trigger, and then with that specific trigger, he could become like a god pretty much, and just come between worlds. So I just wanted to mention that because it really paints the picture that like I said, I theorize maybe in the future, the trigger will be, he'll probably fight someone who probably, while he's fighting the goddess, he is probably gonna lose someone like Mio, I guess, someone that really means a lot to him. That will serve as like a trigger, and then he'll be able to, from there on, he'll be able to kind of defeat the goddess, and then in turn he'll become the god of the new god of that world, and then he'll, because as a god, he'll have the ability to go between worlds. Anyways, that's kind of my theory. But yeah, and then you see Toma's response, and she says, if it means that my master can become mortal. I'm I'm willing to, work towards that goal. So Tomo is not really opposed to it. So I'm guessing hearing this, she'll probably it'll probably serve as extra motivation for, finding the, like I said before, the probably serve as motivation for finding the weapons to battle this the goddess, so her master can become a god and, in turn become mortal. But one other thing that I forgot to mention was that while when Chiki left, making that deal with the Demon Girl of, okay, find the link between the organized, like find the traitor inside the academy, and she agrees with that. But if you saw that scene, it seems like she is, for some reason or somehow, she's planning, or she's planning something, to attack Mikoto or to get rid of him. So I kind of wanted to note that. I guess the other thing I want to mention was, but yeah, overall, I think it was a pretty cool episode. There was definitely a lot of moving parts if you made it towards the end. There was, a lot of moving parts that I kind of had to explain. But, yeah, I hope you guys, liked it, enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed this episode. There was, like I said, a lot that was thrown into this episode. But yeah, and it really gets me excited for the future. But I think I'm gonna end it here. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.